Dieting is not a permanent way to lose weight. If you have been a dieter or if you've tried dieting, you know this already. And here's what happens. You hear about the latest diet and everyone's raving about it. Everyone's talking about how much it works, how effective it is, all the science that backs it up. And that could be paleo, it could be keto, it could be vegan, it could be Whole30, whatever the latest and greatest fad is. And so you are hopeful, you're excited, you're motivated, you're gonna try it, you make a plan, and you hit the ground running. Day one, it's 3 p.m., you've done really good so far, and then the mid-afternoon slump hits. And your friend's like, hey, let's go to Starbucks. And you think about your favorite frothy drink, but you remember, nope, I'm on a diet. I'm not gonna go, I don't wanna be tempted, so you say no. And you white knuckle your way through the rest of the day. Day two, you're at work and something stressful happens. You get triggered and all you want is to go get a treat so you can feel better, so you can comfort yourself, so you can just get through this uncomfortable emotion that you're experiencing. So you hold out, and it's late at night, you've done really good all day long, and then you feel that sense of loneliness or stress, and you go to the pantry, you grab a cookie, and that's it. You throw in the towel, I'll start again tomorrow. This wasn't gonna work anyway. Who am I kidding? I've tried dieting so many times before. I just can't stick to anything. Now, this might be day two that this happens. It might be day three. It might be week three. It might be month three. The point is that willpower eventually and inevitably will always run out. Now, don't get me wrong. What you eat is important. However, this is not what you should be focusing on. That's right. You heard me right. Don't focus on what you should or should not be eating. Why? Because have you ever been asked, don't think about the pink elephant. Don't think about a pink elephant. Don't think about a pink elephant. And what do? All you can think about is the pink elephant. That's exactly what happens with food. You can't have sugar. You can't have flour. You can't have bread. You can't have cheese. You can't have this. You can't have that. And all you think about is how, oh, I could really go for some chocolate right now, or I could really use a glass of wine. You end up using so much mental energy and effort trying to not want the thing that you actually really want. But the problem is, when you go on a diet, your desire, your want, your craving is still there. And you're just trying to, again, use your willpower to push it down, to resist it, to suppress it, to not give in to it. Again, this is not effective. You will drive yourself crazy and it doesn't work. So why doesn't this work? Well, first of all, the reason why you eat too much, or you emotionally eat, or you binge, or you react to eat, or whatever it is that you do that is making you eat more than you should, or the wrong foods, is not because you don't know what you should and shouldn't be eating. You know what's good for you. Most of us do. If you're watching this, you probably have a really good idea of what is healthy and what is not healthy. But that is really not the issue here. The issue is, why are you emotionally eating? Most of us, we realize that we're triggered in some way. It could be a habit. It could be purely a habit of late night eating. That's what you do. You watch Netflix and you eat some popcorn. Or it could be deeply ingrained subconscious patterning from your childhood that has caused you to go for sugar or go for chips or go for whatever it is you go for when you are feeling emotional or you have an uncomfortable or negative emotion that's present. It also doesn't address hormones. Hormones have a huge impact on your hunger. And if you are eating foods like a lot of processed foods or sugar, then you will feel hungry all the time. And you won't be able to trust your hunger signals. So you will be overeating and getting really frustrated because you don't want to go hungry all the time. Stress, sleep, digestion, all these are also very, very important factors that hugely affect how you feel physically and also how you feel mentally, which is going to absolutely determine the kind of choices that you make. And lastly, there is no one-size-fits-all diet. There is no diet that works for everyone. Everybody's completely different. Everybody's body is affected in different ways by different foods. So we can't all follow the same prescribed diet, no matter how many experts back it up or how many research studies there's been, because you have different genetics, your digestive system has its unique tendencies, your environment is different, everything is, you are all different. So we need to find out what is best for each one of us individually and come up with that all by ourselves, not based on what somebody else tells you. So if you do want to lose weight and you do want to change your relationship to food and how you're using food, you need to focus on two things. The first thing is managing your mind, and the second one is managing your energy. Let's talk about managing your mind. Now, every choice you make, every action you take is caused by how you feel in the moment. If you are pumped and motivated, you'll follow the plan, you'll do what it takes, you'll put in the effort. If you feel frustrated or stressed or tired or anxious, you're probably not going to do what it takes and what you really need to do. You're probably going to do something that is not good for you. Most likely, you'll engage in some sort of self-sabotaging behavior. And that's because when you don't feel good, your brain wants to get out of that experience as quickly as possible. So it avoids it at all costs and does whatever it can to change the state. Now, food is a really effective way to change your state because when you eat in the moment, all the blood rushes to your belly and you feel settled. Your nervous system gets grounded. You feel calm and you feel relaxed. Now, again, this is not lasting. This is just while you're eating and a little bit after you're eating. But in a pinch, in the moment, it does the job. It gets the job done. And this is why so many people use food, because it works. It works momentarily, temporarily, but obviously in the long term, it creates more problems than good. So if you understand that your actions, your eating habits are caused by how you feel, how do you then shift the way you feel? Well, the way you feel is determined by what you are thinking, the thoughts in your mind. So first is to become aware of where your thinking is. Where is your brain? What are your beliefs? What are those patterns of stories that you tell yourself? And the brain likes to be efficient, and it tells itself the same stories over and over and over and over and over again. Most of the thoughts we have in a day are the same exact thoughts we had yesterday and the same exact thoughts we had the day before and the day before and the day before. It's recycled thoughts that we just keep thinking, which creates the same kind of feelings, which creates the same kind of choices, which creates the same results that we experience in our lives. And then we feel really frustrated because we can't make the changes we want to make. So step one is to start to investigate, start to observe and watch and be the witness of your own mind and see how your mind is creating your experience and how you feel in this moment. When you see how your thoughts are creating your feelings, then you can start to work with your mind to start to shift. Now this is an art more than a science. It is absolutely a practice, but the first thing you need to know is it starts with awareness. Awareness is always the precursor to change. The second thing to focus on is managing your energy. Most people are exhausted. They are suffering from low energy, burnout. They are wired but tired and have trouble sleeping, trouble getting through the day without a lot of caffeine and sugar. And I've been there. And it's perpetuated by our culture. We live in an overstimulated, overscheduled, busy culture. And this is what we're surrounded by. This is what is the status quo. And it's just perpetuated by all the gadgets and all the everything that we have in our lives and all the expectations that we put on ourselves. Now, this is creating this negative cycle of doing too much, working too much, never giving ourselves the time to go into rest and recovery and relaxation mode so that we can fuel ourselves to have more energy the next day. So every day we're just depleting and depleting and depleting and going into an energy deficit. Now, again, when we feel tired, we're going to grab the thing that gives us that instant hit of energy, which is, like I mentioned, sugar or caffeine. And that's also why we don't, create these changes, because we don't even have the energy it takes to manage our thoughts and manage our behaviors. And we don't even have time to make a plan and create a meal plan or prep our food in advance or be prepared so that we aren't just grabbing the thing that's easiest and fastest and convenient. Now, it's more than just our energy that is the problem. Our nervous systems are frazzled, we are stressed out, we're anxious, our hormones are out of whack, our sleep patterns are disturbed, and we are living in a way that goes against the way our bodies can function best. And this is making life so much harder, and we're putting so much more stress on our systems, more than our systems can actually deal with. And because we're so worn down and our body is so worn down, it can't efficiently digest food. It can't metabolize everything that we're taking in. So as a result, we just end up gaining weight, and we're holding on to weight, and we're not able often to lose weight despite maybe eating well and exercising. So managing your energy is huge and essential if you really want to lose weight. So let me share what happens when you actually learn how to manage your mind and manage your energy. Negative emotions are a part of life. If we can just accept the fact that sometimes we will feel uncomfortable, sometimes we won't feel happy, we won't feel good, we won't necessarily feel positive, and that's okay. We can learn to process our emotions all the way through. We can allow for whatever it is we're experiencing, feel all of our feelings, and then from that place, we can actually move through them. And emotions, if you just have an emotion that is instantaneous and arises spontaneously, if you don't start to latch on a story or a whole narrative or a whole big thought about why you're having that feeling, it actually dissipates within 90 seconds. That's not very long. But you have to allow for it, you have to feel it, you have to experience it, and then you allow it to actually go. But the thing is, and I've seen myself do this, where I'm in a mood, and then I just want to hold on to that mood, and I just feel like being in a bad mood. So I perpetuate it by telling myself stories that keep me in that bad mood. Even once I realize that, okay, this is silly, I don't actually have to still be in this mood, I can let it go. But there's something weird in our brain that holds on to it, and I don't completely understand why we do this, but I've certainly experienced it myself. So this is all a practice. It's a practice of being in our moment-to-moment experience. And then once you have that practice and you're able to move through and process your emotions and thoughts, then you can start to investigate how you're creating those feelings. Like I mentioned before, what are the thoughts that are perpetuating the mood or the feelings? And then you can have a look at those. And then when you're onto yourself, once you really see how you are creating your reality, then you can start to change it. And the problem really comes when we resist negative emotions, when we try to push them away, suppress them, numb them, escape them, whether we use food or we use alcohol or we use drugs or we use shopping, spending, Facebooking, Instagramming, interneting, Netflixing, whatever it is that you do to not feel the negative feelings, that's the thing that gets us into trouble. There is absolutely nothing bad that can happen when you actually just allow yourself to feel a feeling. Although we are so scared of our own negative emotions, we're afraid of fear. We get anxious about anxiety. We get stressed about stress. And so we layer on and create more suffering, and we layer suffering on top of the pain that we're experiencing. When you learn the skill of processing your feelings, identifying your thoughts, and then shifting your thinking so that it creates the feelings that create aligned action, then anything is possible. What happens is often we will try to make changes, and let's take the dieting example. We'll try to change what we're eating before we change what we're thinking. And we have the same thoughts and we have the same feelings, but we're just trying to change the choices and the actions. That will never work because the choices and actions come from how we feel, which come from how we think. So we are going about it all backwards because then we just have to use willpower and force ourselves to take the action when it goes against our own thinking. So shifting your thinking is, I think, the most valuable skill you could ever learn. Now let me explain how to manage your energy and what that looks like. Managing your energy really comes down to your daily routine. It comes down to your everyday habits in terms of your sleeping habits, your eating habits, your work habits, your rest habits, your morning routines, your evening routines. And when we create these routines that allow for us to be in full on, I don't know why I thought of like beast mode because my kids were talking about being in beast mode. Let's say that you have the habits that allow you to show up at your peak and act from like full 100% energy every day. But then you also have habits that allow you to wind down, to relax, to chill out, to unplug so that you can completely recover from your beast mode. And then that pulsation of moving energy up and down creates balance. That is so good for our bodies. Our bodies thrive in that oscillation between full stress, being full on, and full rest, being completely turned off in terms of doing, where we allow ourselves time for just being, rest, and relaxation. There is not enough of this in our world, and it is absolutely the reason why so many people are suffering so many issues and why we are using food in ways that we should not use food. And in Ayurveda, food is this gift, and eating should be a ritual and a way that we nourish our body and a way that we fuel ourselves, not as a way that we to escape emotions or to avoid the pain of our current life or to escape whatever it is we're trying not to experience. That is not what food is for. And when we use it in that way, we suffer and we create a whole lot of health problems and mental problems for ourselves. So imagine being at a place where your mind is steady and at ease, where you allow your emotions to come and go, where you have tons of energy throughout the day and you are at the top of your game. You are productive, you are focused, you are energized, and you sleep deeply at night. You have time to relax and wind down. You're practicing beautiful, nourishing self-care routines. You have a healthy relationship to food. You eat food to fuel your body and to nourish yourself on all levels. Now, this is a possibility, and you do not get there by dieting. You do not attain that level of health and vitality and mental well-being through focusing and obsessing on what to eat and what not to eat. So stop it. It doesn't work. You are wasting your time, you are wasting your energy, and you are wasting this precious life.